All right, so she is a little bit concerned because in this email, she has her toddler that has a fascination with accents. And when that's the case, and the toddler just decides to rattle off some accents, could be very offensive to people around them, right? So if you got something going on in your life you want to share with us, hit us up at thebertshow.com. Check out this email, you guys. If you want to get in on it, you can. I have a very inquisitive 4-year-old boy. He's very curious about everything and everyone. He particularly loves being curious about people from different countries. His preschool class this past year learned all about different countries and cultures and also had a little quote-unquote around the world event where different cultures were represented. I love this. I really love this idea.
That's awesome.
So whenever he hears an accent or sees someone who might look different than he does, he always wants to know where they're from. Conversely, lost my place. Conversely, when he hears a new place, he asks a lot of questions, including about the people who live there and if they have their own language or have an accent. He also likes to try to imitate them. When he would do a British accent or an Australian accent, it was adorable, and we'd all laugh. However, when it comes to imitating other accents or trying to speak in what he thinks sounds like their language, it can sound pretty offensive. So we've tried to figure out how to explain that to him, which when you think about it, you guys, as a kid, that's tough.
How do you,
Yeah.
as a parent, how do you explain that one is offensive?
Like, I don't know if this is what
4-year-old?
she's going to bring up in like this email, but yes, like if you're doing an Australian accent, not offensive. But let's be honest, if you're doing like an Asian accent or you're doing a Latino accent, it could be very offensive, right?
True. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
But we've tried to figure out how to explain it to him, but he doesn't understand why it was cute in one situation and not others.
And as soon as you laugh at a kid when they do something,
Oh, God.
that's all they want to do.
Yeah. In public, he has no compunction. Thank you.
I got you.
I was having a tough time.
Don't worry about
Appreciate
it.
you.
Yes, sir.
About asking people about their accents, guessing where they're from, or even showing off his imitations. Most people find it charming or adorable, but I admit I am always nervous and often try to distract my son. I can understand that. Well, we have a neighbor in our apartment complex. Being 100% honest, I'm not sure where he is from. All I know is that he is most definitely not from China. I know this because my son asked him if he was from China, and before I could stop him, my son told him he could speak Chinese and started doing his quote-unquote best impression. Our new neighbor didn't seem to look at him as if he thought it was adorable. He said nothing but, "I'm not Chinese." Then he looked at me like I was a terrible person, and he walked away. So my question is my son being offensive? Or should some people be less offended, consider the fact that he's only 4 years old? From Laura. Ooh, it's a good one. 1-855-BERT-SHOW.
So people who don't have kids, who haven't experienced a toddler and know what they're capable of at what age, they aren't going to be able to understand that the child's not doing this with like malice or hurt. Because he doesn't know any better at this age. So the person that doesn't know you or your kid and looking at the kid and doesn't know how to gauge a child's age and what they should or should not know is going to take it offensively, even though your child is not trying to be offensive on purpose, obviously. If I were you, would write a note to your neighbor and just be like, "Listen, I'm so sorry for that awkward interaction we had. My son just learned in pre-K about other cultures, and he's very inquisitive, and he is fascinated by other accents. Everything you just told us in this email," and write that to your neighbor and just be honest about it and say, "I apologize. We meant no offense whatsoever, and want to know we respect all cultures," which is why we're teaching our son and having our son be taught about all cultures.
I'm sure the parents know that, but I'm also assuming that with all of like the uptick in Asian hate crimes and discrimination, right, that they've had to deal with so much of this that when a 4-year-old hits them with something that they are unaware of, at that point, somebody that might be Asian has gone through so much, and it's just at the end of their road, it's like, come on,
And we all know, like, kids aren't born with hate. Kids are taught hate. So this is, obviously it's going to be directed at the parent and like what are you teaching your child, that because he thinks he's imitating
Mhm.
while this neighbor thinks I'm being mocked.
Right.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't be offended by anything a 4-year-old does, but you can't control how people respond to things. So if I'm in this position, I would just talk to the neighbor one-on-one, explain to him the entire situation the same way you just explained it to us. And I probably would. I've not been around a lot of 4-year-olds, but I would probably just try to explain to him that maybe it's best to not try to imitate people for now.
Anybody.
Anybody.
Because you can't explain that to a 4-year-old how it's okay maybe with an English accent
Right.
or an Australian accent, but not an Asian accent.
Exactly.
You can't explain it. So off limits.
Just off limits for now.
The Bert Show.
So, first, thanks for watching. Second, you like what you just watched? That just scratches the surface. Get The Bert Show on any podcast platform. We're so good.